What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with another video. Our WrestleMania 38 is almost here. Who will triumph on the grandest stage of them all, and who will walk away in defeat? Well, join us now as we look at all the winners and losers for Night 1 and Night 2 of WrestleMania 38. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Now we start off with Night 1 as The Miz and Logan Paul take on the Mysterios of Rey and Dominik. Now with Logan Paul talking about wrestling full time, his performance as well as fans' reaction to him will determine how much we'll be seeing from the reality star slash boxer. This grudge match will likely serve two purposes, testing Paul's ability and pulling the trigger on the long-rumoured split between Rey and his son Dominik. Whether it's a miscommunication or a flat-out heel turn by Dom, look for The Miz and Paul to win while the Mysterios team self-destructs, leading to a huge feud. Our final prediction, The Miz and Logan Paul defeat the Mysterios. Next up, we got Drew McIntyre versus Happy Corbin, who's with Madcap Moss. WWE has somehow managed to drag this program all the way out to WrestleMania, with Corbin recently pilfering McIntyre's family blade. While this feud isn't the stuff of legend, by any means, it's been a good way to keep Drew busy while the WWE built things up for Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. Expect McIntyre to win, Moss to turn on Corbin, and Drew to look strong before the WWE feeds him to Roman Reigns, which is surely going to be his next feud. Our final prediction, Drew McIntyre defeats Happy Corbin. Next up is a SmackDown tag team match between the champions the Usos versus Shinsuke and Rick Boogs. Nakamura and Boogs have quickly become an effective team, with each wrestler complementing the other's different styles. And nonetheless, there's no reason to put the title on them just yet, as the Usos have been too good as tag team champions and Roman Reigns as championship quality enforcers. But look for the Usos to steal the win and set things up for a WrestleMania Backlash rematch. Our final prediction, the Usos retain the SmackDown tag team titles. Next up is the Raw Women's Championship match as champion Becky Lynch takes on Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair needs to defeat Becky Lynch for the women's belt, or she's gonna look weak after dropping the title to big time backs at SummerSlam and failing to regain it. Nonetheless, the WWE seems obsessed with keeping the title on Lynch, setting things up for a champion versus champion match between her and Ronda Rousey at next year's Show of Shows. While the WWE may feel that having Bianca Belair cut Lynch's hair on Raw was suitable payback for constant losses to Lynch, the EST could find herself wandering the undercard after yet another loss. This match will be good, but it won't be anything fans haven't seen before, as Lynch will sell her soul again to retain the belt with a dirty tactic. Our final prediction, Becky Lynch retains the Raw Women's Championship. Next up, the SmackDown Women's Championship as champion Charlotte Flair takes on Ronda Rousey. We've discussed the challenges of this match in our news and rumors video about WrestleMania 38, pointing out that Flair can't look too strong or too weak against Rousey, as the WWE will want to make Rousey's win impressive, but keep things open for at least one rematch. Short of Vince McMahon having a micro stroke and changing his mind, look for Rousey to capture the title. Our final prediction, Ronda Rousey wins the SmackDown Women's Championship. Next up is a tag team bout as a New Day of King Xavier and Kofi Kingston take on Sheamus and Ridge Holland, who will be with Butch. Now this match can't be seen as anything but filler, and it'll be interesting to see if the fans heckle Holland for accidentally injuring the New Day's Biggie. This should be a good match despite the WWE's lazy booking, which has resulted in this feeling more like a television match than a WrestleMania caliber clash. Our prediction, the New Day win. And finally, Seth Rollins takes on Cody Rhodes. Now, while many fans have heard that Cody Rhodes has left AEW for the WWE, nothing has been confirmed, and there are a number of casual fans who may be unaware of the rumors. Whatever the circumstances, Seth is going to meet his mystery opponent, and it's going to be Cody Rhodes. Geez, just imagine if it's Shane McMahon and we hear, "Here comes the money" right after Seth's entrance. The amount of disappointment. Now the WWE needs to make the most of this opportunity, not only with a strong match, which should be a piece of cake considering Seth and Cody's talent, but a strong follow-up to explain why it's so important that the former Stardust is back in WWE. They could present this match in a number of ways. One, it's an even battle between two top stars, while the other is a short match where Rollins underestimates Cody, thinking he's wrestling Stardust, and is blown away by the much improved Rhodes. But our final prediction for that match, if it does happen, and it should, Cody Rhodes defeats Seth Rollins. But that was Night 1. What about Night 2? As we first look at the Women's Tag Team Championship Fatal 4-Way match featuring champions Queen Zelina and Carmella, Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, Shayna Baszler and Natalya, and Sasha Banks and Naomi. Now, the WWE deserves credit for assembling arguably the biggest women's tag title match since the titles were introduced at the 2019 Elimination Chamber. It's also managed to find something productive for its women's undercard besides a battle royal. But let's hope the WWE gives the 4 teams time to entertain as Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan capture the belts. Our final prediction: Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley win the women's tag team titles. Next up is Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn. As Sami Zayn is so good at getting fans to hate his guts that the WWE could likely put Vladimir Putin against Zayn and Sami would still get booed. Like any celebrity, Johnny Knoxville is an unknown quality in the ring, but Zayn should carry him, especially if the Jackass star has spent time training. Unlike Logan Paul, Knoxville wouldn't have the benefit of working a tag match where a more experienced partner can work the bulk of the match. This one-on-one won't see Knoxville on his own, however, as the rest of the Jackass crew will surely be there to interfere and help Johnny win the match, which is our final prediction. Next up, Austin Theory versus Pat McAfee. And Pat McAfee is not only a big fan of pro wrestling, but a student of the game. He's quickly established his credentials as a color commentator, and judging by his matches in NXT and build-up for this match, a wrestler as well. Austin has been fire as well, making the most of his push and his storylines as Mr. McMahon's protege. Now, there's no reason why this match won't be entertaining, but it could quickly be overshadowed by Mr. McMahon's unknown role in the bout. As fans know, Vince was originally going to compete at this year's Mania, but that seemed to be up in the air, with fans certain he'll show up at least to take a few bumps and certainly to interfere in this match. The million-dollar question though is whether Vince will tire of Austin Theory's mistakes and take out his frustration on him, or look on with delight as Theory triumphs over McAfee. Either way, a WrestleMania with both Vince and Stone Cold Steve Austin on it is a WrestleMania moment waiting to happen. But our final prediction: Austin Theory defeats Pat McAfee. Next up is the Raw Tag Team Championship Triple Threat match as champions RK Bro take on the Street Profits and Alpha Academy. Now, this 3-team rivalry has helped elevate the Red Brand's tag team division, as these teams have worked hard to make their many matches memorable despite having to compete in a seemingly endless array of rematches. The only negative to this match is that the WWE made Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins look like enhancement talent on WrestleMania Raw when Randy Orton and Riddle RKO'd them into oblivion. It's one thing if heels look bad but win the subsequent title match, but we have no reason to believe the WWE has plans to take the titles off Orton and Riddle anytime in the near future. Expect to see the Street Profits go full-blown heel after coming up short, hopefully leading to a sustained push for the talented duo. Our final prediction: RK Bro retain the Raw Tag Team Championship. Next up, Omos versus Bobby Lashley. The Almighty is back, but he may prove anything but as he faces the WWE's monstrous Omos. Will Bobby be a giant killer or the big man's latest victim? Now, while we think Lashley will give Omos his biggest challenge yet, don't expect Omos' push to end here as he defeats Lashley. Our final prediction: Omos defeats Bobby Lashley. Next up, Edge versus the phenomenal AJ Styles. This is a type of match that needs no build-up, as it's a true dream match between two of the biggest stars of the 21st century. Not only that, but both men have never had a chance to cross paths until recently. Now, the good news is that the WWE didn't phone in the match's build-up, instead having Edge embrace the evil heel that's been lurking inside for decades. This isn't the rated R superstar, but someone who seems intent on taking whatever is left of his career and adding it to his already impressive legacy. While AJ works better as a heel, his babyface act is steeled by his desire for revenge on Edge. This match could eclipse everything on night 2 and perhaps all of WrestleMania. Booking 101 says Edge should steal the win here and set things up for a big rematch. However, Styles' recent new deal with the WWE, as well as the WWE liking to give babyface big wins at the show, suggests creative will make AJ look strong with a win over Edge, especially as Styles could be one of Roman Reigns' opponents should he win the Unified Championship. Our final prediction: AJ Styles defeats Edge. And finally, it's time for the main event of night 2, as it's a winner-take-all match, as champion Brock Lesnar takes on Universal Champion Roman Reigns, who's with Paul Heyman. Now, there's no question who is going to win this match, but there's still plenty to talk about as it's arguably the biggest match in the last 20 years. Vince McMahon's dream of elevating Reigns to the top of the WWE mountain had but one step remaining: Roman's victory over longtime nemesis Brock Lesnar. Looking at this match, one can't help but find several similarities to the legendary match between champion Hulk Hogan and Andre at WrestleMania 3. The biggest similarity is that this match is clearly designed to pass the torch as Lesnar goes from being the most dominant force in WWE to help putting Roman over as undisputed world champion. Another similarity is the hype for the match that's proven to be bigger than the match itself. Both superstars have wrestled before, but the WWE has done everything to make this bigger, better and badder than previous fights, turning this into a title unification bout where the WWE landscape will be much different once the smoke clears. Unlike Hogan vs Andre, both wrestlers can still go. As wrestling lore even had it that Andre was in such bad shape that the WWE had a backup opponent for Hogan just in case he was unable to compete. But the match, like Andre and Hogan, might not live up to the fans' expectations given Lesnar's reputation for working short matches. There's also the problem of how the WWE books this. Will the title match feature the usual Reigns' plot elements of ref bumps, low blows and interference from the Usos, or will they let these two titans clash with the best man winning? At this point, Vince McMahon probably doesn't care if he's fulfilling his dream of making Roman his latest megastar. While there's no denying that Roman has finally broken through as a true main event star thanks to his heel act, it remains to be seen what's next, especially as the WWE has weakened much of its roster with decisive losses to Lesnar and Reigns. Will there be anybody credible for Reigns to wrestle once he wins the Undisputed Championship? If not, Vince better had figured out a plan to bring in more sacrifices for the Tribal Chief to sacrifice. So our final prediction, Roman Reigns becomes the Undisputed World Champion. But there you have it folks, all the winners and losers of WrestleMania 38. What are your guys' predictions? Let us know in the comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.